Hi, it's Shantae again from Stitching Hearts Embroidery, and today I am going to use that faux knockdown stitch method that I did yesterday using Stitchartist 3. Today I'm going to do the same thing using Stitchartist 1 and Enthusiast. And so we're going to use Enthusiast to make the knockdown, and then we're going to use Stitchartist 1 to put some holes in the knockdown. And so I tried to do the video earlier, like last night and earlier yesterday, and Embrilliance is just not letting me be great sometimes. So we're going to try this again. Hopefully, if it crashes, then I'm just going to pause the video, get it back up, and then pick up where I left off. So I am determined to get this completed today. So here we go. Another thing. My goal is always really to just teach you some of the tips and tricks in these softwares. I also can do this same thing in Hatch, and so hopefully I'll be able to come back with another video. The reason that I can't add them in together is because when I have both, I'm wondering if having too many of the programs running at one time is like one of my problems, that it crashes on me, or if it's just pushing the software beyond its comfortable limits that's doing it. I'm not sure. And so I'll close everything down and then open Hatch and then do it again. I also can do this in Embroidery Legacy. And so I was saying my goal is really to teach you some of the buttons and teach you some ways around these softwares so that when you do go out and pay someone to teach you digitizing, you are prepared. I really feel like one of the holdups of me when I say it took me so long to learn to digitize was that I never had anyone say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to take your money right now because you're not ready. You're not ready for this, and you need to go do some other stuff first and then come back. Come back in a month. And so it never was that. I was paying and paying and paying and paying, and I wasn't ready. And so to get ready, when you really want to learn how to digitize, to get ready, learn the software first. Learn the buttons, at least like the lingo. Understand some ways around so that when you're in the class or watching the digitizing video, you can understand what they're telling you to do. You know, it's not just kind of going over your head. And then the other, I think, single most beneficial thing that you can do when you want to learn how to digitize is to stitch designs. You got to stitch other people's designs. Stitch designs and watch the stitching. Watch the replays on your computer and watch it on your machine. When I still watch stitching, and I watch it intently like this. Like I'm usually down in there and I'm seeing like, oh, okay, so that doubled back, or that went around, or that started there. And so that all of those things are what will help you when you really take another huge step in learning to digitize. And so that's really my goal right now, is really just helping you to navigate the software, to do some of these kind of tips and tricks so that your stitch editing and all of those things help you when it's time for you to learn how to digitize. So here we go. So I changed my screen to gray. I did this last night really because I was comparing it to Hatch, and my Hatch screen is gray. I think that must be the default for Hatch. I don't spend a lot of time in Hatch, and so I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think it must be the default because I don't remember changing that. And so in order to, so this Embrilliance's default screen color is a yellow. And so I went right up here to this yellow square, this file folder. I clicked on it. I went to display settings right there, and right here to background color. And so you can change that to any color you want. I was really just trying to match. I like it in pink. I just think that's so, look at that. But that's a lot going on when you're, when you have designs up there. So let's go back, change the color back to the gray, and push OK. And I don't know. Okay. So here we go. So I have a gray screen. I still have my super hoop up there. It's the hoop for my By embroidery machine, which is the one that I prefer to do blankets on. I am going to first choose my font, and again, don't judge me about these fonts. I bought fonts this morning. Now I am practicing making fonts, and I have made a complete font set, more than one. And I just like fonts. I like fonts that I see that are already done and pretty. And so I continue to buy fonts. I don't know how much longer I'll do that. Hopefully I put myself on some kind of restriction soon. So here we go. There are the letters. I went up here to the A. It brought me ABC, and then I went over here. Let me move my thing. Went over here to the properties box and chose my font. I'm going to use the same name that I used yesterday or in the previous video so that we can just compare the results. So there's the name, the way it comes up. This is the spacing that's just natural that comes up when you type in the letters. So I'm going to click on just any of these little green squares, and it gives an up and down arrow for each letter. Those arrows, they do different things. This bottom arrow is the one that we're focusing on today. And so that moves everything to the right of the letter that you're pulling on with it in unison. So see, if I'm going to click on the arrow of the N, it's going to move the D and the A with it. And the arrow of the D is going to move the A and the A. And then I'm going to select that again. I'm going to click on the green square of the L because I want to do something with the L. That put a bounding box around the L, and I'm going to stretch it just a little. I'm going to go right in the middle of and move it. So if I had used the down arrow to move it, everything would have moved with it. If I had used the up arrow to move it, it would swing my text. I'll show you. Like, you know, it would do some crazy stuff with the text. And so I'm moving the middle up, and now my text is crooked. Let's fix that. I'm going to use the undo button to try to get back, to where I was. So this looks pretty good. I wanted this point of the L kind of right in there. I didn't want them touching, just using my my visual preference to line these up. I do think that I can center this. So this right here, this button, it has 4 arrows, is the center button, and it's done. So I said we were going to use Enthusiast. So when you have Enthusiast, you go up to Utility and you say add a knockdown stitch. I'm not going to leave bi-directional checked. I'm going to go to defaults. Let's get it back to defaults. There it is. So this is the regular thing that you get when you pull up your knockdown stitch. It will remember what you used last time. And so that's why I went back to reset defaults. I'm only going to inflate this to a 2 millimeter. I'm going to say okay. And there it is. And so let me click off of it. So see, that gave a really thin line. I'm going to show you the blankets that I really prefer. And this is a Sherpa. On one side is very fluffy, and it's not very hairy on the other side. It's really almost like a smooth velour. And so it does not need a whole lot of knockdown stitch. I think that the fluffier blankets are really, really pretty. But if you see me all the time doing this, like I just have a thing about like having hairy stuff on me, or I do a lot of in the hoop stuff, so I have fluff in my room sometimes. I'm always vacuuming. I can't stand it. And so I like the smoother ones. And so this faux knockdown technique works for that. It still outlines the letters just enough. And this could be a little bit wider. I could make this, I did a 2 millimeter, it could be a 3. And so we'll even do that. Let's delete that, choose it again. And all I did was push the delete button. So I chose it again. I'm going to go up here to utility, choose add a knockdown, and make this a 3 millimeter and push OK. And so it's a 1. When you look at that ruler, that little millimeter is such a small, it didn't make a big difference, but that might be just enough to clear some of the blanket away from the letters, and give you a cleaner look. Now, when you're doing that traditional knockdown stitch, let's do it again. It's already selected. The gray is selected up here. I'm going to push delete, choose that again. And I think the regular, like most people, or the older way or routine way of doing a knockdown stitch is making this like maybe a 5 or more, because you know that you can add a 5 and then make a knockdown stitch on top of that. Or if you don't know, then you can. And so you can go as big of a cloud around it as you want. And so let's see what that looks like. And so see, that still gives you those dents and divots in there. And so if you were going for a traditional knockdown, see, it's already, the gray is selected. I'm going to go back up here to utility, and I'm going to add a knockdown on my knockdown. So let's make it like a 3. And okay. Come on. Okay, and so that's getting a little closer. I'm going to put another knockdown on that knockdown. So I'm going to do it a 3 again. There. And so this is pretty much it. Maybe without this divot down here, this little dent. So if this was the look you're looking for, then you would go back here to those first 2 and delete them. You don't need all those extra stitches, right? And then you could even, because we're talking about doing this with Stitchartist 1, you could go to create, click on the gray, and look at this mess of stitches down here. So this is a lot. So I'm thinking of the easiest way that you could get rid of some of these extra nodes. You could double click them. So if you left click on a node, it's going to delete it. So you could just go around, enlarge this, and double click these nodes and get rid of them. You could use stitch editing up there, but we're not going to go into that today. So I'm just going to delete some of these so that this bottom doesn't have this deep. Instead of adding another knockdown, let's just delete some of these all the way down until we make it a little smoother. And I'm holding my space bar. I need to select it again, and using my mouse to pan around on here. So I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. If you double click on the line and there is not a node there, then it's going to give you a node, but we are trying to get rid of some nodes. So there, I think that looks probably pretty good. And so this is kind of the knockdown stitch that you're used to seeing around your wording. And, that can vary to being closer or further away or all the things. And so back to our plan for the day. So I selected it. I'm going to knockdown, add a knockdown. We wanted 3 millimeters. And I'm going to say, okay. The only reason I did not do bi-directional is because I know that when I go to put the holes in it, it's been crashing on me. And so I'm still working on that. So here we go. This is what it looks like. All of it looks really good except these parts. And so this is where Stitchartist 1 comes in. We are just going to draw with points. I don't think I said that part, that we would be drawing with points. And that intimidates so many people for no reason at all. So let's go. We're going to go right up here. We're already in Create. We're going to choose our point. And we are just going to follow the line. I am left clicking. I made a point. I'm going to make one here, here. And then as you do this, there's no real rhyme or reason. Like, you want the points to be as far away from each other as possible. It gives you a smoother stitch, but you just have to practice it. So I did it only to that amount, and I'm going to go up here, like I left a space. I'm going to go up here to this red close, and it closed the space. The reason that I'm doing that is because if I try to close the space, I might overlap. I'm not going to do it perfectly. And so sometimes that can cause you some problems. So that is what we got. We got this line that we just need to fix. And so when you are editing your line, do you see the little squiggly line that's coming up when I'm touching the line? That's letting me know that I am on the line, and that, I can edit it right there. So let's do it again. So there are handles, the Bezier handles, and you can move those in. And all of this is just practice. It is not necessary to do this. You can really just add points all around this line. Let's see where we are with this. So I need this to scoot over. I'm on the line. It's telling me that I have the little squiggly thing. So I double clicked and made a point there. And so that's going to allow me to move it in. I'm going to move that one in. Move it in. I'm going to straighten this one out. Move this one over. Let's move this one out a little bit. And so we want maybe about the same distance on the inside as the outside. It's really forgiving. It's not that big of a deal. So I clicked back on my gray. I'm going to hold down Control and click the line. So that gave me the line in the middle here and the gray. I'm going to go up here to Create, Outline, slide over here, and combine the whole. And if it crashes, oh, and it did perfect. And so that's one of the things. Sometimes I'm trying to do all of my holes at one time. Like I go across here and I'm trying to do too much. And so let's see what that looks like. And so it's a little bit close, but as you saw, like you work with it and you practice it and you get better at it. And so you have to decide if you're ready to go up to Stitchartist 3, or you might just get really good at drawing with points and cutting out holes, that you're good with your Enthusiast and Stitchartist 1 for right now. So let's do the next one. There are this hole, this one, and then this one is a little bit more challenging. We'll do the harder one first. So we're clicking on Draw with Points. We're going to enlarge that. We're going to go here, 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 and go down here. And it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, because we are going to fix all of that. And I'm going to say Enter. Oh, I did backspace. I'm going to say Enter, and I'm going to close it. And now we're going to fix it. So this one, we're going to do that. I did not go into like using curves versus straights, because I'm just really trying to keep this easy, and you can do this easy. So I'm going to use this handle to kind of pull that out. I'm going to use this handle to push that in. I'm going to add a point right here So right here, I'm on it. I'm going to double click, and then I'm going to pull that whole thing in. You can hide what's behind here, and then you're not clicking the wrong thing like I keep doing. Let's bring this way in. And so I purposely did not change drawing with straights, drawing with points, drawing with cusp, just because I'm keeping this beginner friendly. But once you learn those, you will figure out, oh, if I put a cusp in this corner, it'll be easier to manipulate. You know, if I could have done this with a straight, and then it would have gave me more of a pointed effect at the end. But I'm trying to just keep this super simple. So that looks okay. It looks a little close down here. And I'm going to move this one in some. Okay, so there we go. We have our second hole. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to use Control. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the blue writing. I clicked on it, left click, then I'm going to right click and move it last, because we know we want that on top. And when you're thinking about embroidery, whatever's on the bottom has to go first. And so just to get that out of our way. So then we have our gray. I'm going to hold shift and pick the hole. Well, let's do it the opposite way. That's the hole. And then hold shift and pick gray, just so that you can see what it is. We're going to go up here to the top to create outline, combine the holes. Fingers crossed. Did it go? Yes. So look at that. So there it is. And again, you can do that cleaner, neater, whatever way, you know, the more you practice, it just gets better. Let's go over here to the D. And so having Stitchartist 3 for many of the functions just makes it easier. A lot of the things you can do with Stitchartist 1 and Stitchartist 2, but you have to work a little harder. So what do they say? Time is money. You know? And so it just depends on how much time you have and if you want to work a little harder. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to go around this oval. I'm going to push enter and I'm going to close it. I'm going to save myself a little bit of time by, once this one is done and I think it looks pretty good, I'm going to copy and paste it over to that A, because I can tell that this font was digitized well. And so let's hide the other one just to show you how to do that. So I'm going to click on the gray and I'm going to push hide. This, it has an X and it's clear. It's showing you that it's hidden. Click off of it and it's hidden. And so that's going to help me to not keep clicking off of my line. Click that one. Let's use the handles. So if you just saw me, once I clicked on that node, then the handle popped up. I clicked on that node. There are some handles here that you can see a little bit. Let's see. So I'm clicking between these nodes and these handles and just trying to get an approximate outline around it. I know I should be really much larger. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take it, copy. So I clicked it, left mouse, got off of it, right mouse, copy, paste. So the right mouse button brings up that copy paste, just like in kind of any digital software, any software. And so I pasted it. It's still selected. I'm going to take the green square and move it right over here to the A. Let's make that smaller so we can see it. There we go. So now I'm going to go up here to the gray and I'm going to unlock it. So I clicked on it. I'm going to click the unlock, click off of it, and it's good. I need to move my Linda, the blue, back to the bottom, and I moved it to the top. Move last. It doesn't really matter at this point, but so it looks like I have the gray, and then it looks like I have these two holes, one here and one there. So I'm going to choose the gray, hold down shift and choose both holes, and hopefully it doesn't get mad at me and it works. I'm going to go outline, combine those holes. And it worked. So look at that. So we are getting that same effect. You have to put in a little more work and you have to practice to get better at it. So there's one more letter that we want to clean up, and that's the D here. How long is this taking me? 20 something minutes. I think I talked a little bit at the beginning. So, and then enter, close it up, bring it in. That's it. I'm going to leave this one just like that. I'm going to stretch it down a little bit. Let's bring it in a little more. I don't want to hide it again. I might have to. It keeps thinking that I'm clicking on the white part. So the larger you make, that you're digitizing in, the easier it is for you to work with all of this. Let's stretch that down some. Turn that out. And let's see. I think that looks okay. I guess if I had moved this first to begin with, it would stay out of our way. Move first. Because every time you add something, it's going to go to the bottom. So yeah, that. So I'm going to click both of those. That's the hole in there and the whole outline, the entire outline and the whole. I'm going to go up to create, outline, combine holes. And so this is the part that is the extra. The rest that we're going to do, there we go. Except look at that. You only see the gray because the blue is under it. Whatever you stitch first goes at the bottom. So let's move it last. And there is our same design from yesterday or from the previous video. But with that one, I clicked the word, clicked outline, and inflated it. For this one, when you're using Stitch Enthusiast and Stitchartist 1, you have to go through and cut out your holes, make your design. And also, I think you can really see how this will help you to learn digitizing. Like when you're practicing these, all of these steps and using these buttons in the software, that's where the light bulb really starts coming on. So now this part is the same no matter you have Stitchartist 3 or not. So yes, in the previous video, we clicked on the underlay. We changed the density of the underlay. We changed it to, and this is also the part that keeps hanging up. So let's see what it's going to do. Okay, we're going to change it to, we'll do 25. We'll try 25. It only wants us to do one thing at a time. It won't let us be great. Oh, it let me travel the edge. So that's good. And then the other thing that we want to, oh, I clicked it twice. Please come back. Yes. The other thing that we want to do is this third button is the underlay. It does not want, did you see that? It clicked off again. Let's see what it's going to do. So we're going to go to the underlay. We're going to click contour, perpendicular. Perpendicular because we only did it one way. And so we want it to, this is how we're cheating. Instead of doing bi-directional, we are going to just add it over here, the other direction. And then we don't need the density to be 4 points. I talked about that, I believe, in when we're using the regular underlay, the density is, I don't know. I have to go check. That keeps clicking off. I hear my computer really struggling. So let's do about 15 here for the density. And I want the inset to be 0, but I am trying to work with the software and not ask it to do too many things too fast. If it crashes, then I'm going to catch it back up to this point, stop the video, and start and restart it. This seems to help. If it doesn't take too long, I'm going to leave this in real time just so that you can see some of the struggles with working in any of the software, really. I'm trying not to click too much and start having it do the wrong thing or think I'm giving it some more commands. So just keep my hands like this so I'm not still clicking enter and clicking the mouse and trying to make it speed up. Watching the clock. We were doing so well. But at least I've had a couple of people ask me about showing how to do this, and I'm saying, oh, it just keeps hanging up on me or crashing on me. At least you know that I'm actually telling the truth. So I think it did everything except that. Let's do 15 for that perpendicular density. Oh, I think it worked. Let's see. Now, where is my mouse? Oh, and then 0 for my inset. Enter. And we're getting close. There, I think we have it. I'm scared to go back in there and look. And so I think that's good enough. Let's check. We're not going to mess with that. And when you're doing your underlay, you can always click on it and fix anything. Like this is a point, this is pointy. I might round that out, but we're not gonna wake the beast. We're not gonna make it mad. We're gonna leave it just like it is. Let's see if we click on the underlay again. Yep, I have the density at 25 for the first way, traveling the edge. And then we're gonna look at the underlay and make sure it stayed. Yep, everything looks good. And so there you have it. Using Stitchartist 1 and Enthusiast, we made that same Faux knockdown. It was a little bit more work, but it still does work. So you have to decide, is it worth paying, or are you ready? Because if you're going to continue to embroider and you're continuing to learn to digitize, and eventually you do want Stitchartist 3, but is it that time for you right now, or would you just rather learn to work the software and stick with like Stitchartist 1, 2, and Enthusiast for now, so you can get that same effect? So I will be back with this same effect using Hatch at some point, either today or tomorrow, depending on how my computer and the software treats me. But I will see you guys later. Don't forget to click, if this video was helpful for you, to click the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. I even have a school community where I do mostly in the hoop designs and really demonstrating them. And as I am doing more digitizing and selling in my Etsy store, then those are the designs that I am using in my school community, finding testers from my school community, sharing designs, and just how to everything in the hoop, because that is really my first love in embroidery, is in the hoop embroidery. So again, I'll see you guys later and enjoy. Bye.